Not a torture, not a torture. Good evening, everybody. We're here today representing Becerra, of course, is our home, is where we are volunteers for. But we are bringing you an extension of something that came out of all the CYD studies that we've been doing. In our meetings, in our last survey, in our last meeting, which you guys are part of, brought the importance of talking to the parents. So, actually the last two meetings. So we've been for a couple of months studying the content of the presentation that we're bringing you today. And let's see if we can shed a different light on something that you guys already know. Not bringing anything new, everything is written, is out there, is available for you guys to read, but let's see if we can bring it into a new light. So before we begin, I want to talk about this. Nobody is so poor that he has nothing to give. And nobody is so rich that he has nothing to receive. How many of us are parents? Now, without lowering your hands, how many are not parents but are teachers? Now, whoever didn't raise your hands, I am sadly to inform you that every single one of you is either a parent or a teacher. Picture this. You're standing in line at the supermarket. You get to the little counter where all the chocolate and the little gums and the candies are. You get one, you put it in your pocket, but you're still in line. Two people behind you, there's a child. He saw you put that in your pocket. If you get to the counter, you pay for your groceries, and you don't take that out of your pocket, what are you teaching that child? However, if you do remember to take it out of your pocket and include it in your groceries, he's also going to see it. So we are teachers 24/7, even when we dream, because we've been taught by our doctrine that while we are alive and while we are in the spiritual world, we have two hands that are extended, one in each direction. One, which is the people we look up to. All the examples you can think from the most highest one, which is Jesus, to the most nearest one, which may be your parent, your mom. A lot of people have their mom as their main example, but it could be anybody. It could be a teacher in school. It could be anybody that's close to you that you aspire because they have that one quality you absolutely love. And in the other hand, you may not know that. Your other hand is standing, straightened out, pulling somebody up that you are that person to them. Thank God we have evolved out of our ages where we were just cavemen, and we are able to bring those news up to you today. So let's think about that. We are not yet ready to reflect and see that, admit that we are here to teach. And that's why we make mistakes, right? Because if we knew nobody was looking, or if we think nobody's looking, making a mistake is okay. Only I know what I've done. But now we're bringing to you that you are example all the time. Now, those two people at any instance could be incarnated or disincarnated. So you may not see, but somebody may be watching. So always consider yourself as a teacher. And to reflect, we go and ask somebody that's really smart. Oh, my God, do we know who this guy is? So Albert Einstein brings us this statement: the mind that opens up to new ideas never return to its original size. Even though it didn't agree with the idea, it did not obey the change that it was asked of. Now it has more information, and it's on the path to get ready to do that change eventually. And with that, we are going to cover today 4 main topics. Our first reflection of the night is going to be about first moral lessons. And first moral lessons is going to be covered by Leo. Our second reflection is to be religiously conscious about raising your children. How does that interfere in their lives? Number 3 is going to be our responsibility as Spiritists parents, because we in this room ain't the same parent as all the other parents of our kids in school, right? We have now been born or been introduced to this doctrine, which brings a lot of clarifications to our questioning, a lot of good things in order for us to understand better our missions. With that said, we're going to move on to our last piece, which is going to be the Spiritist education and the parents. This wonderful group that allows our children to learn. Come on. Okay. So I would like to introduce you, Leonardo Rodriguez. He is a volunteer at Becerra. Should have been 30 years ago, but with all the mishaps in life and all the learning curves, his dad was responsible for founding the Centro, founding the gift that we have today, which is the Federation of Florida that hosts the CYD, which is where we get a lot of tools in order to teach your children how to be better adults. And he also is one of the people that incented the creation of the U.S. Spiritist Council. So following his steps and coming up to talk a little bit about parenting, Leonardo Rodriguez.
Oh my. It's the biggest audience we've had with the CYD. We're doing this out of love, all right? Out of love for the doctrine and out of love for what we've learned about being a parent. We had no idea when I have kids. My oldest son is 42 years, he just turned 42 years old. And my baby's 25 years old. If I had known then what I know now, it would have contributed to, to their education a lot more. But we have to look forward. We can't look back. We always got to look forward. One of them, out of all of them, one of them considers himself a spiritist. So we know we're doing a little bit better than we were doing before. Okay, what we want to talk about is education, all right? Please have patience with me. The first one to touch is, what is the root of our society today? Can we change anything on what we do, say, or think to improve it? Are we willing to go the extra mile? What have we been doing wrong? Allan Kardec tells us many things about our first moral lessons. Since the cradle, we absorb the vices of society, and then examples for reflection. All right, we want to share these cartoons with you because we found them very amusing, but at the same time, they're enlightening, right? If parents use consequences in place of punishment, they can relieve much of the stress, gain the child's respect, and achieve excellent results. What do they mean by that? Before, we used to always try and bribe. You know what that word is, right? Bribe. We always try to trick our kids. You want this? Okay, do this and you'll get this. Then we found out that what has more effect is to be straight up and tell them the truth. The little girl says, "I'm not hungry." And then the mother says, "If you don't eat your dinner now, you'll be hungry later." Then it says, "Okay, now my tummy hurts." Then the mother says, "Yeah, next time eat dinner when it is served." The next day, the little girl says, "I ate my food. Are you happy?" And the mother says, "Yeah, I'm happy when you're healthy. Would you like dessert?" The little girl says, "This cake is delicious." And the mother answers, "Yes, and healthy." So the little girl says, "You're not a bad mother after all." The mother says, "You're not a bad daughter after all." What we need to do, we need to learn is to negotiate, but negotiate correctly. See, not putting conditions on our children. Here's a one that has a negative reaction to it. The mother says, "Good morning, lady. Did you finally separate the books I asked you? Hi, Mom. Charity Day again? She says, yes. I really don't want to give any of my books away. They're all mine. And then the mother says, okay, lady, I can't see it. Let's make a deal. If you did want some makeup, why don't you donate your books and then we'll go and pick up some. What is happening here is that, see, we're negotiating, but we're not negotiating correctly. You know what I'm saying? Because we're taking away from the child the actual pleasure of learning to be charitable. See, we're passing over, we're going right over charity and going right into negotiating. The child should be taught to take fun, to take pleasure in giving something, the reward of giving, instead of, oh yeah, if I give, my mom will give me. So it's not easy, but thank God for Feby. Thank God for Brazilian Spiritism, all right? All of this information is being available now, all right? Brazil is way ahead of their time as far as the education of their youth, in accordance to the Kardecian Spiritist doctrine. We don't know this. A lot of people don't know this, but you know that France is the birthplace of Spiritism, right? Everybody knows that? But guess where the cradle is? Anybody? Does that read? The cradle, okay? The birthplace is France. The cradle is Brazil. And that was, that was instructed by the spirits that lead, that guide the whole movement. It's interesting. If you don't study, you would have never, if I would have never known that. All right? Oh, here's a good one, too. Daddy, not now, son. Daddy, not now, son. Dad, not now, son. Then later, son, not now, Dad. It's exactly what Claudia was saying. We are examples. Our kids, we have no idea. Our kids watch us a lot more closely than we imagine. I'll give you a quick example. My daughter was born premature, 5 months old, right, in the gestation. But I think she's a blessed spirit because since she was little, she always wanted to do everything by herself. So her grandmother encouraged that. So my daughter's there eating, trying to get the little piece with the spoon. My ex-mother-in-law says, watch, okay, watch. There's something to learn from this. So my daughter's there picking up the peas, but every time she went to pick them up, they fell. She would say, damn it. So she would go pick up the peas and go, damn it. And I look at my mother-in-law, and she points at me, right? She says, nobody see. I don't need to say anything, all right? Watch what you do. Who would have thought a little baby, a little girl, which was like 2.5 years old, and she was picking up all these habits. I'm learning how to work with the modern technology. This is a beautiful thing we want to share with you. A child is field waiting for sowing. The young man is fertilized field. The adult is harvesting production. The quality of the seed we have determines the harvest. All right? The task of education, therefore, is of relevance, while that of the Spiritist education is the urgent savior. Our kids were not only a present, right, a gift, but a harsh reality of a responsibility that we cannot take for granted, all right? Something that we don't realize when we get to the spiritual world, when we return to the spiritual world, we're going to be held responsible for all of our, all that we did or we didn't do. See? So the lessons the moral lessons that we teach our children since they're little are going to remain with them for a long, long time. Selfishness and pride still reign on earth. All right? That we must strike them in the embryo state even before they develop. When we see little kids, when they're little, and they have a bad temper, and we think that's so cute, no? Oh, leave him alone. He just has a bad temper, right? That's when you have to curb him. That's when you have in the Bible, and even in the Gospel according to Spiritism, it says that you have to straighten up the sapling, which is a little tree. You have to straighten it up while it's little, while it's growing. You can't wait till it's a big tree, 18 years old, to try and teach it what you needed to start teaching when they were little. This is all relevant. All right? Can Spiritism remedy evil? By all means. See, this presentation is not only for Spiritists. We're sharing it with you guys, because we feel it's an obligation. But this is also relevant to the people that don't know what Spiritism is. All right? Innate qualities. Children are born with innate qualities. With all the virtues are inside of their soul. All right? What we need to do is nourish them. All right? We have to help bring them out. A lot of people don't realize that. You hear people say, "Oh, when I get this virtue, or when I get that." No, you already have them. They're in there. God created you with them inside of you. What you have to do is cultivate them. Just like you do a garden. You have to work on them. Actions bring about change, all right? If you need to change something in your child, you have to take action. All right? This is what we're running through this. This should be a seminar for parents, but we're just sharing a lot, we're sharing this with you guys because we think that maybe we can plant some seeds to parents, to grandparents, to people in general, to help them to think, to reflect of the responsibility that comes with being a Spiritist. You have to decide if you want to be a full-time Spiritist or a part-time Spiritist. I had to make the decision. We all are going to have to make the decision. Did I do it right? Okay. Spiritism will forcibly shed light over the serious issues of moral education. All right? That's the beauty of Spiritism. Spiritism is the only doctrine, the only religion that points out to us how serious this is. The world can only change when our children change. When the next generation that comes up, precedes us, follows us, has to be better than we are. Oh, this is awesome. One day we will all understand that this type of education has its principles, its rules, just like the intellectual education. In other words, it is a real science. Perhaps someday all parents will be obliged to possess this knowledge, just as attorneys need knowledge of the law. And by that, they're referring to the moral lessons that we need to instill on our children. Okay, now we're going to skip on to our second part. Oh, this is the instructor. He says, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please, climb the tree. How do we educate our children? See, you can't educate everybody with the same pattern because every spirit is an individual entity. All right? So you have to observe your children. You have to see, okay, my baby is so intelligent. I learned from him. My oldest, oh my God, he's like he should have been the baby, So you have to watch your children, always constantly observing them. See? This is beautiful. Let's try teaching children how to think instead of what to think. You see? It makes sense, right? And we're going to get into it a little bit. All right? In a society where the excess of knowledge and information reaches unimaginable levels, teaching how to think turns, in fact, an imposition to the educational methodology. Mio Dios. What it's saying is that before, right, we used to teach and just give information. When we went to church, we were raised up as Catholics. We had to learn all these prayers, you know, instead of teaching us how to connect. You see, how to connect with our higher power, how to make that connection with Christ, how to make that connection with our spiritual guide. So, something to think about. Knowledge should work as an intellectual reaction and not storage, because the human brain is not just a Dropbox. Teaching must lead the student into reflect and to form his or her own opinions from the given information or data gathered from observation. See? Our children, like Claudia says, and we repeat it over and over and over again, our kids watch us very, very carefully. All right? Even when we go to church, or when we come to the center, our children are constantly following us, watching exactly what we do and what we say, because there's a lot of us that act one way here and another way there. See? And that's that goes contradictory to the children, that confuses them. So we need to always maintain a level of our conduct has to be always the same. Parents' responsibility is to give family education to their children. That's where the education starts, all right? The education, the religious education, starts at home. You can't expect kids to come to the center and not have a little bit of background before they get here, even just to know how to behave, all right? Because then the teacher can't even do nothing with them. Orient the formation of character that must reflect their values, all right? That means that you have to form with a lot of love. You have to form the values that they're going to grow up with that child, all right? The family and school must offer material that will form the base to the student's reflection. That's self-explanatory. This is beautiful. The student is prone to receive external and opposed information to the ones received in the family, but surely the family values and concepts that were offered will prevail. See? And it happened to us when we were young. No matter how, because I was like bad to the bone, all right? Now, I'm not saying it to be proud, but I'm just saying, all right? I was so, how do you say that? Delinquent, right? But I always remembered everything my father taught me. It always stayed in the back of my mind. And I knew the limit. I knew just how bad I could be before I wouldn't step that boundary, because I always had so much respect for my father and so much love that I said, no, that would break his heart. And then, the consequences. All right? Be conscious that spirits reincarnate in the Spiritist home mainly need the orientation the Spiritism can offer. Excuse me. Be assured of one fact, all right? All of you that are here, just as well as myself, and our children are here for a reason, all right? All right? You guys, everyone here, I know, speak Portuguese or Spanish, right? That means we came from another country, and it wasn't by coincidence, all right? It was because it was all planned in the spirit world that you guys would be enabled, that the spirits would help you to come to America so you could learn English and you could learn to disseminate this beautiful doctrine in English, all right? Keep that in mind. All the people that say, oh, I don't want to learn English. It's very important, even if it's broken English. Did you see how our sister did? Huh? How beautiful she did? I think she was proud of herself. You know that? Otherwise, we would have to admit that we returned to earth without prior planning, navigating through life without direction nor a compass nor resource to do over the past and move forward to the future in a steady and sure pace. That's what it's saying. What it's saying is this was all planned, all right? We don't even realize. My father, like they said, my father was very instrumental in bringing Spiritism to Miami, to Florida, to the United States. He didn't even know. He had no clue. He had no clue. One day they gave him the codification, and he starts reading it. He never stopped reading it. I would come home from the streets all hungover, and I look, and my dad is reading. I would wake up in the middle of the night, my dad is reading. I mean, he was, he took to this Spiritism like a fish to water. And because of the fact that he accepted the responsibility, he did a lot. And he planted seeds in my mind, in my conscience. He always used to tell me things, And I said, yeah, Dad, okay, ciao, me voy. I gotta go. My friends are waiting for me. But he goes, one day you're going to reflect on all of this. As soon as he disincarnated, about 6 months later, I woke up one day. I get emotional. I woke up one day and I said, Mom, let's go to the Spiritist Center. And I never looked back. I'm doing good now. But before, I couldn't even talk about none of this without getting, real emotional. Spiritism, which revives the lessons of Jesus, is the best legacy to be left to the children. All right? If, in fact, we understand the reach that the Spiritist doctrine has in the reconstruction of human society, increasingly in need of understanding and peace. All right? That's a mouthful. But what it's telling us is this is serious. All right? This is serious. This is something that we are privileged to be here. This is a blessing for us. All right? Because most of the time, our Christian brothers, they go out and they witness to people and they tell them, oh, you must accept Christ as your personal Savior, and pa. But with Spiritism doesn't do that. You have to be ready. You have to be the one that makes the choice. And you guys that are here, you have already made the choice. I got to hurry up. My boss is telling me to hurry. Listen to this. Educate with greater commitment, okay? Our children within the Spiritist principles, without fear, without hesitation, convinced that we are collaborating to its effective happiness, and for the regeneration of the world. All right? This is beautiful. Spiritism is the complete religion that takes care of the spirit from the spiritual world of elasticity and throughout every stage of our incarnate lives. It's the only doctrine that explains, that follows all from when when they're planning the incarnation until they receive you after you disincarnate. Okay? Your children will become what you are, so be what you want them to be. All right? We're just sharing beautiful information with you. I love this one. All right? You must be the change you want to see in the world. And I think that with that, I turn it over to the real teacher. Thank you for your patience. All right? No, don't. Uh-oh. She says, sit down. Just sit down.
Hi, we all thought that we cannot applaud for other people. But we have to be humble enough to accept that if people appreciated what we do and they want to clap, they can. I mean, I'm not going to stop anybody from doing what they want to do. So, you know. Now, you ready? Because this is going to have to be fast. Unless you want to leave at 9:30. So what information do we have to do all of this? You know, he just laid down a big mission on us, right? What do we have? Do we have any support? Is there any materials we can go check out on, read about, talk about? Who do we talk to? You know, what are the main objectives? Why are we here teaching these people to do things? And we talk about children as a younger spirit. It could be a grown-up. It could be an 87-year-old that you're still teaching. Because in that moment, for that specific subject, that spirit is learning from you. So remember, we talk children because it's very easy for us to visualize, but it could be anybody at any time. This applies for a lot of things. So am I capable? Do I have the capability to do this? This is a big mission. Do I have the capability? Can I do this alone? You know, single parent or parent where one works a lot and the other one does all the taking care of the kid thing? Let's see. Where can we find help? Where is that book, you know? We always say, where's the manual of my child? He sent me the child, but where is the manual? What tools do we have as parents? So let's talk about this. Are we ready for the children that are coming out? These children in the past lives were spiritists. They know more than we do from the get-go. Their spirits have more knowledge than we do. So the grandchild looks at the grandfather and says, yeah, I also did not believe in reincarnation when I was your age. Right? Think about that. Where did that come from? You explain to somebody that, okay, my grandfather just died. So the wife is totally distraught. No matter what you tell her, she's crying because you know the love of my life and all of that. But you get the grandchild and you say sensitive things like Lee did earlier today. He told the grandchild, you know what? It's not that sad after all, because he just passed from this world to the next one to meet up with the love of his life, because the grandmother was already deceased. The child got it right away. The adults had to be told 6 times before they started to get that. You understand? So children are ready. You tell them, and you tell them the truth and how you believe it, and they get it. They're ready. Are we ready for them? That's the question, right? We were raised by parents that punished us for even looking at the wrong place. You'd look at your dad, and you're looking over there, and you're not supposed to be looking over there. He'd just go, and you... Now you look at your child, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go over there and check that out. And you're like, doesn't work anymore, right? So unfortunately, as Lee said, we have a lot of our documentation came out of FEBI. So I do have references to Brazilian literature, but I do know that somebody's translating this book, so very soon it will be entirely available in English. I have some parts already translated. If somebody needs it, I can provide some of the stuff, but there are people translating it, and hopefully soon there will be a book available for everybody to read it in English. But the Sublime Sementeira, I don't know what they're going to call it, so I'm not even going to guess, has lots of conversations with spirits from some mediums, and it's all related to children education. It's like interviewing the spirits. What should we do with our children? One of them is 1982, so not that long ago, fairly recent. You know, we study so many things from the 1800s. Why not study something a little bit more recent? Divaldo was the medium that allowed Bezerra de Menezes to be interviewed. And the main general question is that we're going to look at today. It's a lot of questions, but I'm going to look at one. It says, what orientation could our spiritual friends give parents in relation to taking their children to the Spiritist education classes at the Spiritist Center? So we all got that, right? How important is it to bring the kids here? Oops. Yeah. So I love it. He calls it School of Excellence. Not daycare. Not little place where I drop off my kids so I can go watch the charla without him pulling my hair for an hour. Not the little place where we hide them, and we hide from them in the big room while they're in jail over there with a boring teacher. He calls it School of Excellence. So praise the teachers that take care of those crazy children that get here absolutely hyper, and they have to doctrinate them in 1 hour. So although it is the home to the School of Excellence, where the creature should receive the widest favors education. So it's not going to be exposed to what Jesus did every single week. It's not going to be exposed to who's God every single week. It's going to be exposed to a million different things, a whole array curriculum that is so long that we have a very hard time to do it in 25 to 30 lessons a year. Because remember, they're only with us 1 week. The year has 52 weeks, but guess what? We have summer vacation and winter break and spring break. So, 25, if we're lucky, 30 lessons, right? It's very little. And they're not continuous, because then comes a holiday, then it comes Mother's Day, and then it comes this. It's hard. And we are here to sculpt the spiritual formation of those children. No matter if they're 4-year-old or 14-year-old, they're still sculptable. We can still make them a better child, or at least ponder on new ideas before he makes a decision. And he goes on to say that the spirit parents that are still mistakenly allowing their children to, when they come to age, I'm not even going to go any further, right? If the Spirit Center is not for your child, you're in the wrong place. You need to be loving your center for you as much as you love it for your child. And just to cover this, I love this picture because we know we all individual spirits. We all in different stages of our raw lives, on different experiences, on different levels of health. When you're just about to start a procreation of a child, or you're already bearing one, if you just had one, if you're a grandmother, if you're an aunt, if you're just a caretaker, if you're somebody in a wheelchair, it doesn't matter what, and today I'm losing my voice because I don't even normally sound like this, but if today you are in any situation of your life, including waiting to incarnate, Spiritism gives you consolation. It tells you what it is. It tells you how to go. It teaches you the lessons you need to learn. We need to be prepared, right? So what do we have? We have Jesus examples. We all know those. We've been here long enough. I'm sure that before here you were in all kinds of Christians churches where you know all the things that Jesus did. And downplay it a little bit. Come on, Jesus is perfect and I'm nowhere close to him. But, you know, if I was not Jesus, that perfect guy, how can I better do what I thought of doing? How can I go one little step more to be a better person? Because that's examples. Spiritist children's books. Okay, you lost a grandfather. You had some child seeing a spirit. You got communications. I don't know how to talk to my children about this complicated stuff, you'd say, right? Well, the library, I'm sure here, just like in Becerra, just like on the internet and Amazon, you can find plenty books that will talk about all these different aspects. Maybe they're in Portuguese, but go talk to the teacher. Make sure the teacher helps you translate if your child doesn't speak Portuguese. Talk to them, teach them. And if I don't say the word gospel at home, at least 6 times during this presentation, please call me out outside. Because the gospel at home teaches your child how spiritual you are. Remember Lee said, you're one way here, another way at home? How do you balance that? The gospel at home. And you know what? If you are the witch boss at work, get there earlier and do gospel at work. Because that's going to help you. Even if you are the one suffering from the witch boss at work. Go there earlier and do the gospel. Understand what a divine present parenthood is. Imagine you get to do something and 20 years later you see the result. Even if you're disincarnated, you still see the result. That's a gift. I don't see the result of my own life because, I'm the one living it. So it's hard for us to judge how much we improved. Somebody comes up to you and says, my God, you were so different 5 years ago when I met you. You were that boss lady that nobody could stand you, but now look at you. And you're like, I think I'm still the boss lady. But hey, you can't judge yourself because it's hard. But your child, you sing it become this beautiful flower. There's no doubt about it. Our values, our beliefs, our references, those are where? In the toolbox. You can pull them out anytime. It's your value. You believe in it. You already know it. Talks and informations given by experts. And by this, I don't mean me and Lee are experts at all, okay? However, we took upon ourselves to study this material, and we're bringing it to you under a new light. So that's an expert talk, not an expert person on the subject. But listening to all these different aspects of the subjects that you're having an issue with will bring you automatically a different point of view of something that you already thought you knew all about it. Remember, right? When the mind expands, doesn't go back to being little. Classes. I recommend every single person to study. The house, I'm sure, has studies in all kinds of languages because we all here do. We got to accommodate everybody. Go to classes. As you learn, you'll be more prepared to teach others. Meetings with Spiritist instructors and team. Go there. Talk to the teachers. You have a child that has a problem. Talk to the teacher here. See if that problem that you have at school still follows through at the Spiritist Center. I had a case where the mother told me, I'm having a problem with my daughter. The teacher's saying that she doesn't interact in class. Hold on, you're the mother of that one over there? That one in a pink shirt? I can't make her shut up in my class. She thought it was really odd, right? She's always called in the principal's office, in the counseling office. Why doesn't she talk? So she decided to go visit the classroom, watch the teacher. The teacher was actually somehow making the children feel like they shouldn't be interrupting or interacting. So it was more a relationship problem than it was a problem with the child. Imagine if she'd take her to the doctor and started giving her pills or something, right? So, it's another place, it's another environment with other teachers, with other children, where you can compare and balance the formation of your child. And this is super important. The knowledge, if you're not the one teaching your children, who is? Go. Our responsibility also goes with the main objectives, right? What are we here to do? So, reflect on the responsibilities and duties of educating our child. You're important. It's important to reflect on how much time you want to spend on that. How much effort should you be giving to the character formation of your child? not just that the child has to go to law school. You're going to spend a lot of time and money for that child to go to law school, but also a lot of time in the character formation, because there are bad lawyers, right? To form an army of good men and women. Spiritists are here to form the next generations. It's mine, yours, everybody in this room, everybody that's involved in this doctrine, anywhere on earth today, mission to create great men and women. Because just by having more evolved spirits, what we will have? More evolved earth. It's our choice. Contribute for better earth. Assist the children to choose non-violence reactions. Because if they're smarter, the first thing they're not going to do is want to go into a fist fight, because they're smart. They can outsmart with word that guy for an hour before they decide to bring up their fists. What is it that he said? Teach them how to think, not what to think. When you teach them, that guy is bullying you, go there, hit him. You're teaching him what to think. When you teach him how to think, you say, that guy's a bully. How can you turn him into a good guy? What is he missing for him to be a good guy? Is he missing friends? Is he have a bad relationship with his parents? Should you talk to the teacher? That's how to think, not what to think. Lead our children to adopt a critical positioning of the world. You know, there's an earthquake. A lot of people die. You're going to hide that from your child, or you're going to talk about it with your child? They have to know people died. You can't just say, an earthquake happened, but nobody died. You have to tell them the truth. It's a bad news, right? But every single bad news in the world has a good news directly related to it. So you're going to focus on the guys that died, that are under all those wreckage and all the bad things that go with it, or the 10, 20, 100 people that tried to save them and risk their lives to go there and save them. How many other thousands and millions of people across the world have put stuff together to give it to those families that lost everything on the earthquake? So there is good news on everything. Awaken their spirituality. These kids have to believe in God since they're children. Because if we don't get it in the cradle, we ain't getting it later. They may be good people, but they will say things like, I don't believe in God. Because they never learned it from the get-go. Use Jesus as our guide. Build the God's kingdom inside of these kids. What we get out of Spiritism is hope. Hope that tomorrow, when we open our eyes on the lesson on our next life, we are better spirits than we are today. So if we can build that God's kingdom in our children's hearts, they will want to always strive to be better children. They're already better than us. You ask them, they'll look at you and say, aren't you going to recycle that bottle? You're ready to trash it. But they're ready. They're protecting the children that they haven't even planned to have. And we're trashing it. They're ready. Learn so we can better educate. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that either. Respect to all and for all. And teach the children that we are the children of God. Am I capable? So, loving means doing the best that we can with everything that we have around us, right? We follow Jesus' steps. We already learned that we have to do the gospel at home. We already learned that we have to incentivize the good habits on the children and curb the bad habits. The children done something wrong, don't focus on the wrong. Focus on how can he have done it better. Focus on good things that came out of it. Focus on the good, never on the bad. Because the more you focus on the bad things that they did, they're going to keep on doing the bad things because that's what you're focusing on. They want your attention. So let's focus on the good. Are we doing this alone? Can I do this alone? So let's say I'm a single parent or I'm a married couple, but this guy here travels all the time. So you end up being a single parent, right? What if you're not the parent, you're the grandma or the aunt that's got to keep that child most of the time? You're still doing it alone, right? Well, we have Jesus. He's always with us. On our side, he's always at our call. Whenever things get crazy, stop, give some water, do a prayer. He normally comes down the ambulance. We have family. Yeah, family. Well, we have that family that we were born from, right? Parents, siblings. I know. And we also have the people that walk in our house and says, she's like a sister to me. Well, prove it. I'm raising this child. You come help me. You have the school teachers. You have the Spiritist Center friends. You have your Spiritist Center teachers. You have your own faith. When everything looks bad, the only thing you can hold on is your own faith. That is a tool. Try not to use it only when everything is bad. Try to use it when things are so-so and good too, because it works better. And remember the maximum. God does not give you more than you can handle. Never. If it's been given to you, it's for you to carry it, it's for you to bear it, it's for you to do it. Now, did I speak about the gospel at home enough? I will not get into any details on this. I am sure Marisa, the reception desk, and they have groups and people that can explain to you in detail how this works. But I will never stop stressing how important it is to do it, even if it's alone in the bathroom, because nobody else wants to be there. Eventually, a little face will show. Can I do that with you, Daddy? You know, it's a process. People were not born good all the time, right? We have to make them get there. So do it. What tools do we have? So the tools go, we have the Spiritist Center School. We have the positive and respectful parents' relationship. Yes, the way you treat your wife, the way you treat your husband matters to your children's education. They will take that picture of the loving relationship into their future. Create a loving relationship environment. I'm 12 years old and I'm pregnant. You're going to kill her or you're going to love her? Killing is not the answer, right? You have to love her. So love her first. Take care of her first. She's scared like you can't believe to tell you. But if you can show her that even though I'm mad and I want to kill you, I still love you and support you, and I'll teach you not to do this again, ever, you will get all the interaction you need with these children to hopefully, when she starts thinking about having sexual relationships, she will come to you and says, Mommy, there's this boy and I really like him, instead of coming home pregnant at 12, right? Teach the children to make their own efforts. Whenever I catch a 9-year-old that says, Mommy, can I have a glass of water? I want to kill the mother, right? Because she goes straight to the fridge, gets the water, and hands it over to the kid. Oh, it doesn't happen in front of me. Because I'll make that kid get me water, the mother water, herself water, the dog water, and everybody else water in the house. She's young, she can do it. Have an open mind when talking to the children about anything. Don't freak out. Because when you do freak out, they don't know how to react. How are you going to react next time? What if it's something that it's not even more serious, but they believe is more serious? Are they going to come talk to you if you're one of those parents that freak out all the time? No, they have to trust you. They have to understand that love comes first. And the last point of the night is going to be talking about the parents and education. So, can we consider parenting a mission? You know, we talk about Madre Teresa mission and so mission and Gandhi's mission and so mission. Parenting is a mission. You thought you weren't a missionary, right? You thought you were just this unevolved soul that came here to get a whole bunch of trouble and cancer and this and problems and lack of money and all these things that we deal to in the... those are material things, right? We got to look at the spirit as eternal, as it doesn't end. It comes from a place with baggage, and it will go to a place carrying that baggage plus what you're doing today. So you have to think about the big picture. Being a parent, teaching kids, being a human being on an evolving planet is a mission. It's a duty and a responsibility for the future of our planet. How many parents are happy with the growth of their children because they turn out to be exactly what they didn't want? Well, they turned out to be exactly what the parents were, not what they wanted. So our examples will form our kids of tomorrow, not what we tell them, how we tell them to think. And the future generations are not different than a current or ourselves. We come out here to learn to be better people. This I won't touch. I will touch two things. This is going to be part of our workshop. We're going to give a workshop, I don't know whom or when, probably in the beginning of the year, about good parents and brilliant parents. But what do I want you to take home? Two things. Good parents talk. Brilliant parents dialogue. What does that mean? They also listen. They also shut up and listen. It's important to understand, I'm not 10 years old. I don't think anybody but her is 10 years old. But how am I in today's life? I was not born with a computer on my fingers. She probably was. So how am I in today's life, with the background that I have, understand the reasoning behind her mind? By listening and trying to put myself in her shoes. Because it's only by reasoning back at her why that doesn't work that she will take your no. Otherwise, she will jump the window and go anyway. And then this is my take-home to-do list for everybody. This PowerPoint is here, is going to stay here. You guys can have this printed, put it in a mirror at home. But the important things of not to do to be a brilliant parent are these. Do not publicly correct your child. That brings into humiliation. Get home and ream her. Tell her everything wrong she's done, but not in front of other people. Moreover, in front of her friends. Do not be aggressive, because fear does not promote a healthy relationship. Yes is yes, no is no. Be firm. Firm is being love. Do not over-criticize. You tell a boy, don't play with dolls, that guy is never going to be a beautiful artist that can do great things because he never experienced that thing of playing with dolls. You never know what's going to lead anybody to do anything. So if you curb them on their infancy, when they're the most creative, you may be curbing their creativity all the way into the maturity of their lives. Do not punish when mad. The child did something wrong and you said, you're going to stay in the house with no computer for 12 weeks. Imagine the lady can't even do homework. Right? Because everything is on the computer now, right? Even their homework, their reading, everything is in the computer. You can't say that when you're mad, because then you're going to have to go back on your word, except the next morning, right? When you remember, except when doing schoolwork. So if you're mad, tomorrow we'll talk about your punishment. Go to your room. Don't tell her what the punishment was in your when you're mad, because you do the same thing as me. Overdo it. Don't do it. And then don't lose your patience. We can never give up teaching. They're our children, our future, our tomorrow, the tomorrow of the Spiritist Center, the tomorrow of the Spiritist movement. You don't need to be a Benjamin Rodriguez to be an avid participant of the tomorrow Spiritist movement. You need to raise your children well. Don't default on your word. This is very simple. Yes is yes, no is no. There's always next year, and you can say yes for something you said no if you change your mind. Do not destroy the hopes and dreams of a child. Brilliant parents also get desperate. They also lock themselves in the bathroom and cry after a fight. They also feel guilty. But however, they never give up on the education of their children. So today we talked a lot about a lot of things, and hopefully we'll make this into a half-day seminar so we can talk about these again in more detail. But the first moral lessons is start teaching your children since they're very young. It's important. I have parents that have started to do it even when they found out, when they want to be pregnant, they already started. But others, they have to, get the little exam in and say positive for them to start. So, okay, we all know, we all spiritists, right? We know that you could be with your spirit's child here for 5 years already before you even get pregnant. But okay, I'll let you start when you see the little positive. That works. And they talk to that child. I love you. I don't know if you're a boy or girl. I'm a month pregnant still, so I can't know. But I love you. You don't know if that guy is the guy you killed on the last life and is coming to get you. Start early. Religious education. I can't stress how important it is. Make sure that they come, meet the teacher, become friends with the teacher. Then you get emails and WhatsApp groups and all kinds of cool things that let you know what's going on. Parenting the new era. It's not easy, guys. No minute in this whole presentation on these 2,500 words that I said the word it's easy. It's not. It's extremely difficult. I deal with other people's children, and a lot of them. I deal with parents that sometimes are more childish than their own children. And I deal with parents that are older than their own grandparents, and then they have a child. So I deal with all of them. And it's not easy for any of them, no matter how much experience. And you know what? One of my best friends is a teacher and a mother. And she calls me for advice with her teenager, which now just turned 18. Actually 21, right? No, 18. And she's doing great, but she did drugs, she did excessive sex, she did all the wrong things that a teenager does before she was 18. And she would call me for advice because we cannot fix our own problems alone sometimes. So go out and get help. And being that this is a mission and Spiritist education is the most crucial thing for them and for us, I say, let's love our children intelligently. Let's think about what we do, how we do it, how we want to do it, and how can we get better at it. Thank you so much.
12 minutes.